Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Some interesting statements coming from the Ukrainian regarding the Kerch Bridge, the Crimean Bridge. They say it wasn't them. They say it was the Russians. Alright, well, let's see what's going on here. Ukrainska Pravda, today, October 8th, 2022. This is the title. President's office says Crimean Bridge explosion was caused by conflict between Russian security forces. Not impossible. I don't know if they tried to build this narrative or what. Mikhailo Podoliak, not a very smart one, I tell you, based on previous statements, advisor to the head of the office of the President of Ukraine, has described the explosion on the Crimean Bridge as a manifestation of the conflict between Russian security forces. If you didn't know that, now you know. And I'm quoting Mr. Podoliak. Regarding the Kerch Bridge, this is a specific manifestation of the conflict between the Federal Security Services, FSB, Wagner Group, on one hand, and the Defense Ministry, General Staff of the Russian Federation on the other. Okay, well, so the security and Wagner fight against the Defense Ministry. We are undoubtedly witnessing the beginning of large-scale negative processes in Russia. Control among the security forces has fallen sharply. Serious conflicts have broken out among the Russian special forces, services. Everyone is looking for people to blame for the military defeats, and they want to reform Mr. Putin's inner circle and take other positions, or to arrest certain generals. End quote. Podoliak noted that, according to all indications, the truck that exploded drove onto the bridge from the Russian side. Therefore, in his opinion, answers should be sought in Russia. So, what do you mean? Crimea is Russian side either, so it came from... So, since Crimea is Russia, what is he referring to? Oh well, I know exactly what he means, but nevertheless. Let's move on. Therefore, in his opinion, answers should be sought in Russia. He believes the logistics of the detonation and synchronization with the fuel train and the volume of road surface destroyed point to a Russian trace. Why? Yeah, it could make sense, but you know, this is just an argument based on I don't know. It could have been you. It could have been the French. What do you mean? Anyway, he believes the logistics of a detonation. Yeah, okay. Now, he's saying, Mr. Podoliak. He continues by saying, now, in this striking incident, we see that the conflict between Russia's military and power structures is intensifying and slipping out of the Kremlin's control. End quote. He believes that the Russian leadership is looking for people to blame for the defeats at the front, and the FSB and Wagner Group owners are campaigning for a dismissal of the military leadership. Sergei Shoigu, Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation, and Valery Gerasimov, Chief of the General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces. Now, if this proves to be true, that's okay. Otherwise, I will call him just disinformation. That's what it is. They try to, explain something that could be there, but as well as it couldn't be there. It's true that they're not very happy with one another over there, but I don't have any information. Maybe Mr. Podoliak has some insight in this, which he's expressing it in this article. So, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of fingers that are pointed from one direction to another and so on. But why would it have been necessary to destroy the bridge? Something that the Ukrainians disliked. What would be the bridge? What would be... Do you know what I mean? I mean, if you dislike someone and he's not dismissed, you try to assassinate that person. That's what they do. So I don't understand, why do you need to blow up a bridge? Let's say the Wagner group is upset. Why would they destroy the bridge? What is the point? Why not do it in Moscow, straight to Moscow? Why do they have to do the bridge? You know what I mean? And besides, if you do the bridge, what do you have to gain out of it? Let's say you're Wagner group. What did you gain? But let's say you're FSB. What did you gain? And what if you're military? What did you gain? Nothing. Nothing. You just, shoot yourself in the foot. So I don't see Podoliak. Why would they pick an explosion over there right on the bridge when maybe he explains. Let me read further. I didn't read the article. The explosion on the bridge, a personal project of Putin's, not only undermines the position of the FSB, who allowed this to happen, it also... No, FSB is not the one in charge of the S-400s and S-300s around. That's the military. It's not the security forces. So what are you talking, Podoliak? All right, let's move on. Who allowed this to happen? It also gives the military an excuse for a systematic defeat, this systematic defeats in the south of Ukraine. They're saying it's because of failures by the FSB that all the logistics relating to rear support and the supply of reserves have collapsed, insists Podoliak. Well, wait a second. You say that the Russian army lost territory because of the FSB in the south? Is that what it is? So the military has no counterintelligence agency in it? I know they do. They don't depend necessarily on you. You're a parallel, they have their own information departments in the military. They don't have FSB. FSB is something parallel to it. So, and then again, if they would want to blow that, and if it was the FSB, they proved that they didn't provide intelligence to counter that truck. First, that truck should have been stopped right there at the bridge, at the entrance. Or if not there, at least who's in charge of that bridge? The military or FSB? I think it's the military. So the military did it so they can look bad, or the FSB did it so the military look bad. Why would the military look bad on that when you say, well, no, wait a second, it's the intelligence? I mean, it's kind of like, I'm not saying that what Podoliak is saying cannot happen. It could be a fight between these guys, but on the other hand, it's too how should I put it? Too far-fetched. Or do you think that, I don't know? Well, if they want to stick with this how do you call it, narrative, that's good. But on the other hand, I think this is not the obvious. When you investigate something, you go with the most obvious lead, and then the next one, and next one. After you exhausted all the investigation in the first one, and you can find, you jump to the next hypothesis, the next probable, and then the further. You don't start with the furthest one. You start with the most obvious one. The same, then you start with, let's say, with the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2. They all, Podoliak and all these guys, pointed to the latest one, the one in the back again, Russia. They didn't start with the United States, who has the most benefit, but they started with Russia again. The same here. This guy picks up something that is in the last row, in the back of the movie theater, instead of starting with the guy in front of him, staring at him. That's very unusual. That means it's kind of like pick and choose, instead of saying, well, let's see what would be the, who would benefit the most. I know there are false flag operations, and not only false flag, well, I'm doing this so I can get you in trouble and then blame you, and so I shifting the blame, and I got that. But this guy jumps straight to that one. Where at the beginning, this morning, they said, well, this is first, and the second, and the third one is going to be what? They said it. I can't remember what kind of official from the Zelensky's government said. First it was this, and then it was this, and there's Crimea, and what's next? No, we did. It was the Moskva first, and it was the bridge, and then what we're going to do next, or something like that, which implied very much it was us who did the first one, the Moskva, this one ours, and the third one what's going to be. I didn't say Moskva, it was sunk by the FSB or FBS, whatever. Well, we're going to find out, and obviously the Russians will tell us whatever they want them to tell us. As of now, I don't think this is the, I mean, could be, but there are many other scenarios that could be looked at before that one. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.